let me make a video of the different parts of the skull. Again, I'm going to be using my needle as a pointer. So we went over the cranial bones being made up of 8, and facial bones. There are 14 bones which make the facial bones. So let me now go into a little bit in detail. So frontal bone, this is the frontal bone. It has two things. One is the supraorbital foramen, and then here there is a sinus called as frontal sinus. Right? And next is the parietal bone, which is these two, this one and this one, separated by the sagittal suture. So parietal bones is separated by sagittal suture, and parietal bones are separated from the frontal bone by coronal suture. That's all it is for parietal bones. Then we go into the temporal bone, which is this bone, right? So this is the squamous suture, which separates it from the parietal bone. I hope you can see it. Yes. So this is a squamous suture. And then it has many different markings and projections. So it has one process. This is called as zygomatic process of the temporal bone. So the process is something that comes out. And this part is called the temporal process of zygomatic bone. Both of these processes together, they form the zygomatic bone. So this is zygomatic process of the temporal bone. And then there is a little hole here, right? That is the external acoustic meatus. Meatus means canal, a big canal. So that is for ear canal, right? So that is external acoustic meatus. And then you have a little fossa here. Fossa means a little groove, okay? So this groove, and it has something stuck to it just to make sure that this goes and attaches. So that groove is called as mandibular fossa. Fossa means a little groove. So that's the fossa where mandible comes and attaches. So that is called the mandibular fossa. And if you touch the back of behind your ear, there is a little protrusion, and that protrusion is called as mandibular mastoid process. Again, it's like a thick process, okay, and that is called as mastoid process. Next to that is like this pointy little thing, and that is called as styloid process. So processes are those projections or things that jut out from the bone where the muscles or different things attach to them, tendons, ligaments, muscles, those attach to these processes. So again, temporal bone, this is the zygomatic process, this is the mandibular fossa, mastoid process, and styloid process, and the squamous suture. Okay. Then we have the occipital bone, which is this one right here in the back. That's the occipital bone. This suture is called as lambdoid suture, and this is the foramen magnum. Okay. And there are two little flat surfaces here. These are called as articular surfaces, and this is where another bone comes and attaches. Okay. So between the vertebrae, also we find these, and these are called as condyles. Okay, so this is the first condyle where the first vertebra is going to come and attach itself. This is called as occipital condyles, here and here. It's pretty smooth. Okay, this is occipital condyle. And all these little bumps that you see, that is called as external occipital protuberances, even this here. All right, so again, so foramen magnum, occipital condyles, external occipital protuberance, and lambdoid suture, and then occipital bone. Okay. Then we go into the sphenoid bone. For that, I have to remove this. So this is the sphenoid bone, the butterfly-shaped bone, right? And it goes all the way from here to here. Okay, so from our back from here to here. So it spans all the way. And so you have the greater wings, and this is called the lesser wings. Look at the picture in your textbook, it is color coded, so you can see the wings more clearer in that. these are the optic canals. Okay, so I showed it to you in the other video. This is the optic canal. And superior orbital fissure. So this is the superior orbital fissure. We cannot see the inferior orbital fissure. And then we have foramen ovale, right? So this is foramen ovale and foramen rotundum, okay, which is closer to the optic canal. And then you have a little, I'm going to put it in an angle so that you can see. So this little thing, this is like a little seat, okay, where the pituitary gland goes and sits in there. Okay, so it is like a little groove here where it goes and sits. That is called as sella turcica. Very important part of the brain. Okay, so this is mainly to protect the pituitary gland. So this is like a little chair, a groove for the pituitary gland. So that is your sella turcica. Then we go to the ethmoid bone right here. Okay, so it goes all the way from here down here. Okay, so this is ethmoid bone right here, and then it goes all the way till your nose. So ethmoid bone has this little protuberance here. Okay, this is protruding. This is called as crista galli. And crista galli is where the membranes of the brain comes and attaches here and fits it into this cranial space so that the brain doesn't move. Okay, so that is crista galli. And if you look closely, you can actually see little holes next to the crista galli, right? Those little holes are the openings for olfactory nerves to come to the brain. So the brain that processes smell is right here. So if I go here, so from here, if I go up here, the nerves are going to go up into the ethmoid bone, into the brain right here. So all these little dots, those are called as olfactora foramina. And another part, important part, is the perpendicular plate, this plate, which forms the meatus. And then we have the superior and medial inferior conchas. Inferior nasal concha is a bone by itself. So superior and middle nasal conchas are part of ethmoid bone. Okay. And paranasal sinuses, I'm going to actually put a picture in the PowerPoint, and you can just take a look at that.